on, Foxy. It's your birthday. Not for real, just for play. This is Cree Summer, and Moana Nui will be right back.
Special delivery. I had business at the warehouse, and look what I found.
Who are you?
The name's Static. I put a shock to your system.
Good line.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in with the Moana Nui podcast. We have a iconic, everybody knows this man is so amazing. We have Phil LaMarr. He's done so many voices over the years. So you've voiced so many iconic characters. Which role do you think had the biggest impact on your fans, especially fans of color?
It varies. It depends, because I've been doing this for a long time, and there are fans of one thing that don't even know about other things. There's somebody who watched every single episode of Futurama that never watched Static Shock. But the thing is, I was lucky enough to work on great material, great shows that make you laugh, sometimes make you cry, but you feel them. So if you watched them when you were young, or you watched them when you were an adult, it went into you. Those are the things that matter to people. That's the things people become fans of, because it mattered. And it was more than one, but not everything. Because Futurama was the first time that a cartoon was actually a sci-fi show.
That's true.
So there's a lot of sci-fi fans of that, but they may not have been superhero fans for Justice League or Static Shock or something. Or somebody who grew up watching Cartoon Network and went into Samurai Jack may not have found some of the other stuff. Different channels.
Yes, that's very true. And then not only just your voice acting, but you also had your acting as far as being on Mad TV, and then also being on iconic movies on top of that. Which character was your personal favorite and why?
No single favorite, because, as I said, I was fortunate, lucky to have worked with great quality material, either on camera or on mic or on TV or on a movie. I've been lucky enough to work with, great people in all those mediums. And also, as a old school comic book nerd, it's been a huge joy to tap into the DC universe.
Yes.
On camera on Supergirl, on mic in Justice League, got to get into one Marvel movie.
Well, I can see that happening soon.
Well, Carl Lumley has been in all of the universes.
That's true. They just need to go ahead, Marvel, Disney, go ahead and write them on in so we can have Phil right there. Now, with balancing multiple roles and projects can be demanding. How do you manage your mental health and well-being throughout your career?
It's not demanding. No. Sketch comedy is a little demanding because you got to do multiple characters in minutes and keep changing wigs and doing makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
But with animation, you ain't got to memorize a script. You perform it off the page there in front of you, and then you move on. You don't spend a week playing this character, doing this scene, like, movie actors do.
True.
But then they just do their one character. With animation, you do multiple characters a week, but there's very few method voice actors. Like, I have to be this person. No, you just have to sound like this character. So no, it's multiple characters is not a demand. That's just the job.
Very well, very nice, very nice. Now, what has been your most memorable or fulfilling moment in your career so far?
Well, I've been lucky enough to have bunches. I mean, back in 1991, before I got my first regular TV job, I got to do a pilot alongside two people who were icons in my childhood. Carol Burnett and Adam West.
Yes.
I had grown up watching the Carol Burnett show with my grandma, and, I was a huge Batman fan.
Yeah.
So both of these people were super foundational to me, and to get to be on set with them,
Yes.
that was a joy. And, got to be on set in a scene with John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes.
And John was another one I'd grown up watching, and Sam was so amazing to share set with. It's like, wow, I feel like I'm taking a master class, but no, I'm just at work.
I love it, and of course your character in that movie was iconic also. It's just like you've hit iconic movies and shows back to back. It's been amazing watching. You're also very talented, and your talent shows through all of this. How has your approach to voice acting evolved over the years, and what do you find the most rewarding about it now?
Well, I mean, I started out doing impressions when I was a kid. So I think I may have thought it was all about the voice and the sound. I remember feeling like, no, whenever you do a new character, you gotta make sure it doesn't sound like any of your other characters. But I remember during one episode of Samurai Jack, working alongside Mako Iwamatsu,
Yes.
who was incredible. I mean, here was a guy who had starred in movies in America, in Japan, had starred on Broadway, in theater, done everything.
Yes.
And now I'm doing a cartoon next to him. But watching him, and he was also somebody with such a unique voice. He had that texture and his accent. And one time they said, oh, and Mako, we're gonna have you play Aku and one other character in the episode. I remember thinking to myself, like, what are you doing? That voice is so Mako. Everybody's gonna think, oh, is this other character Aku in a different form? But then I watched him. He didn't just transform his voice, but he performed the other character in a completely different way than he performed Aku. And I realized, oh wow, it's about the acting, not just the voice. And he taught me that.
Yes.
So that's when I realized, no, it's not just about changing your sound or squeezing your throat.
Yeah.
It's embody the character, because you're always going to embody that character in a different way than a different character.
Yes.
And if you sound the same, you're doing it wrong.
That is great advice. And for our viewers out there, how can they be able to continue to follow you and also watch your journey on social media or any other platforms out there?
Well, I'm on Instagram and those spin-offs and TikTok as @Phil LaMarr. That's 2 L's in the middle, 2 R's on the end.
All right. Well, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, and special thanks to Mr. Phil LaMarr, who has graced our presence here at BlerDCon here in the DMV area. So thank you for tuning in, and have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.
So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will.
If this the land of the free, it was a freedom then, when they annexed Hawaii and called it Cedar Lands, without any type of payment and no signing off. Called themselves the Republic in 1894. 1.2 million acres overtaken from the native Hawaiians. When they resisted, the West retaliated in violence and erasure. The Hawaiian language is banned as part of colonialism's plan to expand, yeah.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. The work of all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. We will.
So if you put Hawaii into perspective, well, Black and Asian history is interconnected. Considering the fight with the Pacific, then of course versus Asia, they was treated as a middleman for war, but didn't let the Western colorism run its course. Cause dark skin was a sign of dignity to core. The land was taken in the name of capitalism, when prior to it was an actual kingdom. Clap back at the system.
Stuck between a rock and a hard place. Multiple bombings of Kaho'olawe as a part of their ongoing war with Asia. Used it as a place for target practice. No consent or compensation. Colonizers call for annexation. The work of all the locals. School will never let you know. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. So many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. Too many stories left to tell, even if we have to ourselves. Can't keep history on the shelf. If they won't tell it, we will. We will.